Hey everyone, welcome back. So today's Thursday. Obviously, the Bitcoin was up a little bit today, along with the miners. Some miners were up, some miners were down. But the real reason we are here today is I want to kind of take a look at had you invested $1,000 in each of the miners starting January 4th of 2021, and where would we be today if you sold today? Would you be up? Would you be down? How much would you be up? So we'll take a quick look at that. But we'll also get into the miners here, how they did today for the end of the day, Bitcoin, and maybe in the next video, one of the videos I'm thinking about doing is doing like a projections, what I think Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of the miners might end up reaching next year. But that's coming down the road. I will be off tomorrow and Saturday. I'll be back on Sunday. Going on a family trip with the family. So I won't have a means to be able to record these videos for you guys. But we will do the miner versus Bitcoin for the week on Sunday. That'll be out later on Sunday when I get back. So we'll get into that. But first, obviously, let's get into Bitcoin here. So Bitcoin was up today. Here's the candle. We're obviously in a new 24-hour fragment here, or segment. But we were up in the green today, which was good. Had pretty good volume compared to what we had in the past. We could see the volume here wasn't all that great. But we even went up higher than today. So today was a battle, I think. Today the bears and the bulls were battling it out. Luckily, the bulls were able to win today. But we'll see how tomorrow shapes up. Tomorrow is obviously the last day of the year. I don't think there's any trading going on. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't think there's any trading in the stock market tomorrow. I think the stock market is closed tomorrow, but I could be wrong. We're off at where I work, so I'm thinking the stock market might be off as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on it, obviously see where Bitcoin ends up over the weekend. And then obviously tomorrow we'll have the information on Bitcoin, and then we'll be able to do the miner versus Bitcoin for the week, like I said, on Sunday. Obviously, we've crossed again on the 20-day moving average with the red line here. We're getting further separation between the two, which, again, tends to make me think that Bitcoin is going to come back down a little bit more to at least the 44,000 or maybe in the 40,000 mark. But we'll see. Everything is fluid here. Things can change on an instant. We could get some good news and things skyrocket. We could get some bad news. It could fall. So we'll keep an eye on it. Next is Ethereum. Ethereum is still kind of trading right now at around this range at 3,709. Pretty low volume today, and we are crossing on the 20-day moving average here across our support here. Don't know if that means anything or not, but it's just not a good sign. Obviously, we're going to be battling that resistance once it falls below it, so we could see, obviously, Ethereum fall as well as Bitcoin does. But I'm hoping that the new year is going to be more green days than we've had in the past here, at least on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And hopefully we'll do a lot better going forward into the new year. So let's take a look at the miners here really quick, and then we'll get into had you invested $1,000 in each one. So Argo is down today, 3.15% to 123. Let's see if there's any news. I don't think there was any news. I checked earlier, but there wasn't any news on any of these guys. Bitfarms was down. It wasn't down. Sorry, it was up. It's a down after hours. So basically whatever it gained today is down in the after hours. So it gained 0.59%, and was up to 512. But in after hours, basically wiped that out. Cleanspark was up 2.4% to 1009. Digihost was up 1.74% to 467. DMG was down 2.46% to 6340. And Hive was down 0.75% to 264. Hut 8 finished out the day at up 0.92% to 772. Iris Energy was up 1.2% to 1687. And Marathon was up 142 to 3439. And Mawson was down 2.69% to 652. And we got Riot up 2.17% to 2350. All right. So not a lot going on the stocks here. We'll have to see, obviously, in the new year if any of them start reporting on what hash rate increase they're going to do for the year. We know what Mara's going to do. Now it's for the rest of the guys to pick up the slack a little bit, see what they're coming up with for the new year. So here's the pricing that we had. So here's the current price of each one that we had at the close of the day. And then this is the price of January 4th, 2021. So basically almost a full year ago, when the market opened back in 2021 was on January 4th. So this is the closing price on January 4th, 2021. Had you bought in then, You would have bought Argo at 0.75%. They had a low this year of 0.16, so 16 cents, and a high of $4.65, which would represent, had you bought January 4th and sold basically today, you would have had a 64% gain on it. Bitfarms started out the year at 186, had a low of 178 and a high of 936. It would have given you a gain of 175% had you bought, obviously, in January 4th and sold today. And Cleanspark is now at 1009. January 4th, it was 1066.66, low of 972 and a high of 42.60. You would be down on Cleanspark 62.15%. DMG 467, or Digihost is 467, and January it was at 249, started the year. The low was 131, the high was 1425. You would be up 87% on that one. DMG was at 42% for the beginning of the year, at a low of 39 cents, was up a high of 451. You would have basically a 50% increase in that one. Hive started out the year at 195, had a low of 174 and a high of 575. You would have had 35.38%. Hut 8 started out the year at 305, had a low of 290, high of 1657. You would be up 153%, so really good return on that one. Along with Bitfarms, Iris, obviously this one just started out November 17th, so had you bought it then, you would have been buying it at 24.45. You would be obviously down 31%. It had a high of, or a low of 12.50 and a high of 28.25. Marathon started out the year at 11.01, had a low of 10.53 and then a high of 83.45. You would be up 212% on Marathon, even though it has come way back down from its high, but you still would be up on it. Mawson started out the year 242, had a low of $2 and a high of 17.25. You would be up 169% on that one. And then Riot started out the year at 1648, had a low of 15.35 and a high of 79.50. And you would have had 42% gain on that one. So if we look at the leaders here on the gains or losses, let's do ascending. So you would have lost in Cleanspark and Iris. Iris obviously came in on November 17th. So it's only had a month and a half of trading basically. So it's not a fair, I don't think, estimate on that one, how that one does. So we'll see in 2022 how this one does. But right now you'd be at a loss on that one. Hive came in basically towards the bottom. Riot would have came in at also the bottom of 42%. DMG at 50%. Argo at 64%. Digihost at 87%. So the best performing ones would have been Marathon, Bitfarms, and Mawson had you bought at January 4th. Now, obviously, had you invested $1,000 into each one, you would have turned $1,000 into $378 for Cleanspark. Iris would have been $689. Hive, you would have had a nice, decent profit on it at $1,353. Riot would have been $1,425. DMG would have been $1,500. Argo at $1,640. Digihost at $1,875. Hut at $2,531. Mawson at $2,694. Bitfarms at $2,752. And Marathon $3,123. I should have included Bitcoin, I think, in this one as well, and Ethereum, see how it would have done. But basically, I mean, all of these would have outperformed the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 was at 27.23 for the year right now. Otherwise, well, the only two that would have been down, obviously, would have been Cleanspark and Iris. Those are the ones that you would have lost on. But everything else, had you invested in, you would have outperformed the S&P 500. On the average, had you just taken $1,000 and invested, divided it up by all these stocks, you would have averaged about 81% gains collectively on all of these. Even the ones that had losses, you would still have been up 81%, which is basically 3 times the performance of the S&P 500. So you would have done really well that way compared to going just with, Cleanspark or Hive or Riot. You could have done a lot better putting it all into like a basket, $1,000 into all of these. Divided equally. Obviously, had you invested just in Mara, you would have been up the most at 212% here. But that's, you gotta be really good at what you're doing in investing. But sometimes somebody that doesn't know much or doesn't know a lot of information on these miners, the best thing might be to actually just put it all in a basket, put $1,000 in, divide it between the miners, and see which ones you're going to do fairly well, and obviously outperform the S&P 500. So all in all, you would have been up $1,815 or $815 basically on your initial $1,000 investment. And if you're a really good trader and you sold, basically you bought January 4th and you sold at the top, which are the highs here, the best one that could have performed for you, if we look at it here, so let's do this really quick. We'll do it that way. Let's do descending this time. So DMG, had you bought at January 4th, sold at the high of 451, you would have been up 973%. So you would have had about 10,738 right now at the end of the year had you sold. And then followed by Marathon, Mawson, Argo, Digihost, Hut, Bitfarms, Riot, Hive, Cleanspark, and Iris towards the end here. So if you're really good at investing, you could have done really well, obviously, by investing in DMG. But most, I'm not going to say most, but I think it's tough to invest. It's tough to figure out which ones are going to do really well, which ones aren't. You know, even the ones that I keep an eye on here and do all the analysis on them, I still think some of them should be higher where they are right now. So it is what it is. Sometimes investors go for, at least it looks like to me like they're going for a hash rate right now. So the ones that have the highest hash rate going forward are the ones getting all the love, while the ones that are doing really great, they're having great numbers, they're positive EPS and things like that, they're not seeing the love. So I think those guys have to get more miners basically reported as being purchased going into 2022 and being installed in 2022 if they want to keep up. Otherwise, they're going to not do very well for the returns for the investors. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it. That's all I wanted to show you guys. So 2022 is around the corner. We'll do a video on that, or I'll do a video on it. As far as my projections for these guys here, what I think they could possibly reach. I'm not saying it's going to be top or the highest point. I think it's going to be like the average part where I think it's attainable, and then anything above that is just gravy. So we're going to look at the pretty much this quarter here, and I'll just figure out going forward if there was 4 quarters going forward of the same numbers or close to the same numbers, added some extra variances in there, and we'll figure something out. But that's it. Let me know what you guys thought of this. Obviously, it's always good to kind of take a look at it, kind of get a different view on it, especially if you just invested in the basket instead of just one stock. But yeah, I mean, the miners did good for the most part, beating the S&P 500. So I think you wouldn't have done a bad investment unless you invested in, what was it, the one that was down here? Cleanspark, and obviously Iris just recently, but I think Iris has potential to go back up. I think all these guys have potential to go back up. I think it's just depending where Bitcoin is. So, all right, that's it. I'm ranting on here. Have a not a Merry Christmas. Have a happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year, you guys. I won't see you guys until Sunday. So I wanted to wish you that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. It means a lot to me. I do appreciate it. And, let me know down in the comments what you guys like, what you don't like. I want to build this channel for you guys and things that I'm interested in as well. So that's it. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. I'll see you guys in the new year. Bye.